Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new around here, my name is Jamie and I am a natural mama and I talk a lot about natural health, natural beauty, and natural healthy homes on this channel. So today I want to talk to you guys about our announcements that I made a few weeks ago on Instagram and Facebook that we are having a baby, and this is going to be the first trimester recap, as well as some of the must-haves that I found super helpful and that I'm absolutely loving in the first trimester. So this will be my second baby, and it's about 10 years after my first baby, Teddy. And I am right now, as I'm taping this, 13 weeks pregnant. So I am like literally just getting out of the first trimester. So I thought this would be a good time to give you guys a first trimester update. So if you follow me on Instagram, I probably have been more quiet than usual. Definitely haven't been in my stories. My face hasn't been in my stories. I haven't been out and about. I haven't really been doing much since the beginning of October. So Jared and I got married in July, and we knew right away that we wanted to start planning for one more little one right after we got married. So we actually started trying officially in August, and a friend of ours gave us like one of those ovulation test strips, and it happened the first time that we tried. Using that test strip when it told me I was ovulating, that's when we conceived. So we found out in September, the first week of September, and it's actually a really funny story. I was driving Teddy to school the day that I was supposed to get my period, and I got a message from one of the moms in Teddy's class that said, "I just had a really weird dream about you. I dreamt that you were pregnant with twins." And I was like, oh my God. That's so crazy because I actually am scheduled to test if I'm pregnant today. And then it like erased from my head. I was driving Teddy to school. I had a million things to do. And that week specifically, I was in like overdrive. Like, you know, when you're in that time of the month where you can just handle everything and you want to get everything done, you want to accomplish all your to-dos, and you're like so productive. That's how I was that week. And I was like going a mile a minute. I had all of these ideas. I was doing all the things. And I just got caught up that day. And I was like, you know what? If I get my period, I get my period. I'm very regular. I always get it exactly when I think I'm going to get it. If it's like a couple hours off, I'm like, what's up with me? So I didn't get it that day. And I woke up the next day and I was like, I have to do a test because I was super excited. I wasn't expecting it to happen this quick. And it just kind of like snuck up on me like, oh my God, this is the day that I think I'm going to find out that I'm pregnant. And I took the pregnancy test, and the first line came out right away, and then the second line, which would tell you if you're pregnant, came out very faintly. And I was like freaking out. I was like searching the internet to figure out, does this mean if I'm pregnant? I only had in the pack, it came with 2 pregnancy tests, and I was determined not to freak out and use them all just to find out, and then have to go buy like another pack the next day or something. I was determined to be like reasonable and logical, and I just like was searching the internet, and all of the information that I was getting was that it's really hard to get a false positive, and then if it's even a faint line, you're pregnant. But you test best in the morning, which I had no idea. So this was like after I dropped Teddy off at school, and it was already like 11 a.m. when I finally tested. So I just planned to wake up the next morning and do the second test. And I did. I could not sleep. I woke up so early. Usually when Teddy's at his dad's house, Jared and I sleep in. I couldn't sleep in. I took the second test and it came back right away, like super clear. So I woke up Jared and we were both like in shock, I think. We didn't expect it to happen that quickly. So I'm older. I'm 39. And I wasn't even sure if it was going to happen for me. We always knew that we wanted one more after we got married, but in the back of my mind, I was thinking like maybe we'll adopt, or if it doesn't happen by the time I'm 40, maybe we'll just give up the idea. We were just like super shocked. So on that day, I was 4 weeks pregnant. So the whole month of September, the next 4 weeks, I guess, from week 4 to week 8, I was feeling really good. I knew that I might start feeling nauseous because with Teddy, I felt basically nauseous the entire first trimester. That's what I remember. So I knew that I might start feeling bad. I got obsessed with like listening to podcasts and other people's pregnancy stories, and I was like hearing their symptoms. And I just wanted to prepare myself, like get all of the work done that I wanted to get done in September, so that in October, if I started feeling really gross, I didn't really have too much to do. So I'm basically a work-at-home mom. I do a lot of work with Young Living and essential oils and helping people use natural remedies. So I basically could make my own schedule and decide like how much I wanted to get accomplished for the next month, which was really great. And I didn't get everything on my list done because I was so preoccupied with being pregnant. I ordered 3 pregnancy books right away, which I'll talk to you guys about, like my must-haves for this first trimester. Okay, so at the end of September, I had won a trip from Young Living to go out to Utah and visit their lavender fields. And I was super worried that I was going to feel gross at that point. The week before I left, I had already got like the extreme exhaustion, and I stopped like wanting to eat healthy foods. And I remember I couldn't even bring myself to go to the grocery store and pick out some snacks for the plane because I really wanted to eat healthy things. I knew that this part of my pregnancy, I was like growing all the organs and all of the like really important stuff for the baby. So it was important to me to have a lot of nutrients. And I remember packing like hours before I went to bed the night before the trip because I just couldn't get myself together to plan for this trip. I ended up going on the trip, and I think because there was so much energy and so much excitement, and I met so many awesome people, and I had so much fun, that I did not feel nauseous. I was exhausted the whole time, but there was lots of good food. They fed us really, really healthy food. Lots of Ningxia, which if you've heard me talk about Ningxia, it's really, really great for wellness and feeling your best. There was lots of Ningxia there, and I just felt like really great that trip. And then as soon as I got back, it like hit me. And I was out of commission for like 5 weeks. Around October 6th, we told Teddy that he was going to be a big brother, which he was super excited about. We also told our family, like our immediate family, we videotaped Teddy opening a box of balloons, and it was like pink and blue balloons, and it said Big Brother on the balloons, and we videotaped him opening that to tell him. And then we sent it out to our parents and our brothers and our sisters, and we kind of kept it really quiet still, as quiet as we could, because we were about 9 weeks at that time. And we didn't really want to make a huge announcement until after 12 weeks. So at 12 weeks, we had our first midwife appointment, and we were hoping to hear the baby's heartbeat. I answered a bunch of questions, I got my blood work done, and when they went to do the sonogram, we couldn't hear the baby's heart rate, which they said is completely normal at 12 weeks, especially if the baby is like further back in my uterus, more towards the back. They heard it like a couple of times, but it never stayed long enough for Jared and I to hear, so that was a little bit disappointing. But everything looked great. My blood work came back great. And one of the things that my midwife did say, because I was telling them that I felt so horrible in the mornings. Like I would wake up and I could not get out of bed because, first of all, I was so exhausted. I just wanted to keep sleeping. But also I felt so nauseous and so sick that I just couldn't bring myself to get my day started. And I have been drinking a cup of coffee in the morning still, just 1 cup sadly, but I do still start my day with coffee, and even coffee wasn't motivating enough to get me out of bed because I was feeling so bad. So the midwife was telling me that if you go to bed hungry and then you're not eating all night long, that you're really like low blood sugar is really attributes to a lot of your morning sickness. Like for me, eating made me feel better. A lot of people, I guess, can't eat when they're nauseous. I'm like the opposite. I was eating constantly because I just didn't want to feel nauseous. But they were saying if you go to bed and you don't eat all night long, you're waking up with such low blood sugar that you're kind of starting at a negative and you're just constantly trying to catch up all day long. So they recommended that I eat throughout the night, that when I woke up to pee that I would eat something. So after dinner, I don't eat anything. Teddy and I eat a super early dinner at like 5 o'clock, but I don't eat anything after that. Every now and then, me and Jared will have like a snack or like ice cream or something. But really, I'm done after dinner, and I don't eat anything until the next day. So it's like such a drastic change for me to like think about eating throughout the night. So what I started doing, and I was having trouble swallowing my prenatals. They started to taste really gross because they're food-based. And I just like couldn't get the motivation, and a lot of nights I was skipping them. Like I was telling myself, I'll have them at breakfast. First I started off having them at breakfast, and then I'll just wait until lunchtime, or I'll just wait until dinner. I was just like procrastinating, and I would end up skipping like a bunch of days because I just couldn't like think about the thought of swallowing them. So what I ended up doing was having a big orange and filling my stomach up, and then having my prenatals right after, just to kind of like, I don't know, for some reason eating an orange right before swallowing those prenatals really just helped me because, I don't know, the orange tastes so good. It was just like helpful for me to do that. And then once I started doing that, I didn't wake up feeling disgusting anymore, like feeling sick and nauseous. And I thought I had like figured it out and, found a solution to my nausea. And then it came back like 4 days later and sort of hit me hard again. So I'm not sure if it really helped or if there's some other trick out there. So nothing really has helped. Honestly, I haven't really been doing anything for the nausea besides eating when I feel super nauseous, or making sure I eat every few hours so I don't get super nauseous. I was making ginger tea, just dropping some drops of ginger essential oil in a cup of tea with some honey. And that instantly made me feel better, but it's something that like you have to do consistently. It's not like you can drink it once and then feel not nauseous for the rest of the day. And I just didn't have the energy to make a cup of tea. Like that's how exhausted I was. I couldn't even motivate myself to make myself a cup of tea. So when Jared made it for me, that was amazing. A lot of times he gets home and I'm already like in bed, basically sleeping, and I don't want anything to do with tea. But that was helpful in the moment. Eating was helpful. Eating at night right before I went to bed was really helpful. Maybe now that I'm closer to the second trimester, I need to eat more than just an orange. I'm not really sure why I'm still feeling nauseous at this point, but maybe it's, I have read that a lot of women it takes till like 17 weeks, so maybe I'm just at the tail end and it'll end soon. So the Mama Natural guide, what is it called? Week by Week Guide to Pregnancy and Childbirth. I actually found this online and I bought this book. So when I was pregnant with Teddy, I had a guide, like a pregnancy guide. It was called the Organic Pregnancy. And it wasn't a week by week guide, but it was more like how to incorporate lots of healthy products throughout your pregnancy. And this one was kind of a great mix for me. It was incorporating natural products, natural remedies. There's recipes in here, but it goes week by week on your pregnancy. And it's such great information. There's a lot of natural approaches, which is definitely something that I turn to first and that I'm always looking for before I have to do anything pharmaceutically. So this was definitely something that I got right away, and I started reading it. It was hard for me to like stop at the week that I was at because I just wanted to know all of the things, which is kind of ironic now because I'm at the very end of the first trimester, sort of going into the second trimester, at the second half of this week, and I have such a hard time keeping up on the week by week because I just can't focus on reading right now. It's just something that like is not comfortable for me. I've been like binge watching YouTube documentaries and like a whole bunch of different like episodes of shows that I'm really into, but I can't read anymore. So hopefully I can get back into this. I'm a few weeks behind, but I'm also in that phase where not much is happening to me externally. It's all happening internally, and I knew that as long as I had good nutrition as best as I could, that I'd be okay this first trimester. So something else that I wanted to share with you guys right away is Ina May's Guide to Childbirth. So this is recommended for anybody who wants to have a natural childbirth. And if you saw my birth video with Teddy that I just posted last month, my birth with Teddy was very traumatic. Wasn't what I wanted at all. I ended up with an emergency C-section, and I wanted 100% natural vaginal birth. And it's something that I have regretted. I sort of have mom guilt about it because I wanted to give Teddy that peaceful entrance into the world. I just wanted to hug this little one that I had been growing and holding inside of me for 9 months. And he had such a traumatic entrance into the world. He was away from me for so long before we even saw each other in the hospital. Obviously he's amazing and perfect now, but I still have like mom guilt about how he entered the world. So this was something I wanted to have as many resources as possible so that I can make it happen this time. Something else that Jared and I did was we researched midwives. One of the main reasons that I believe that I had the birth that I did, and if you go back and watch that video, I talk all about it, was I had a lot of hospital and doctor interventions that weren't really necessary for me and Teddy. It was more of a matter of hospital procedure and the amount of time they were giving me to labor or even go into labor. So I wanted to have a midwife this time so that there'd be less of a chance of intervention medically, and I could just allow my body to do its thing. And we ended up finding this amazing midwife. So my birth will be a VBAC, which is a vaginal birth after cesarean. And a lot of midwives that practice in birthing centers, well, actually, what I found out after doing a bunch of research is all midwives in birthing centers in the state of Pennsylvania will not do a VBAC. So I had to go outside of a birthing center, and my dream for this pregnancy was to have home birth, but Jared wasn't necessarily on board with that. So our compromise was a birth center with a midwife. And as soon as I told him that I wouldn't be able to have a VBAC in a birth center, and then my only option was to have a hospital birth, he was much more open because he knew how important it was for me to have a natural vaginal birth and how traumatic my hospital experience was the first time and how sort of against hospitals I was, at least going in for hospitals for like a natural, non-medical procedure. So we found a midwife, luckily, who will do a VBAC at home, and we are planning a beautiful water birth at home in May. And we've seen, she's a team with another midwife. We've seen them twice so far, and we're just really super excited that we get to have this opportunity to give birth at home and have that peaceful entrance into the world for this new one. Another book that I bought right away was The Real Food Pregnancy. So I actually didn't get into whole foods until Teddy was old enough to have foods, and I was researching the best foods to start him off with and to give him and nourish his body. And then I got into this whole lifestyle that I'm living now, where we're mostly plant-based. I do give him and Jared some like really good quality meat, but we're mostly plant-based and we're mostly whole foods. I do cook a lot from scratch. I'm not a very good cook. I don't enjoy cooking. My recipes are like super simple, super basic, but the most important thing to me is that I'm cooking them and there's not added preservatives or chemicals inside of our food. So I knew as soon as I got pregnant that I wanted more of a whole foods nutrition to grow this baby. And I'm not much of a supplement person. I know that I needed a prenatal. I wasn't taking a prenatal when we were trying, which I probably should have. I should have thought about that. I was taking a B complex from Young Living. It's called Super B, which is amazing. It has natural folate as opposed to folic acid, which is folate is something that's really great for getting pregnant and growing healthy babies, and it's a food-based vitamin. So I was taking my Super V while we were trying, but I did not pick out a pregnancy vitamin. So I bought this book, and honestly, when I bought this book, like the cover and like all of the whole foods looked so good to me. Everything, like the fish and the eggs and even the meat, and I don't eat meat. And I dove into it. I got up to page 72, and that's where I stopped. So much great information inside of this book. But then around 7 weeks, I started feeling super nauseous, super exhausted, and all I wanted was comfort food. And for me, I crave like boxed macaroni and cheese because I ate so much of that, I guess, when I was younger. That's all I wanted was boxed macaroni and cheese. And I did have it one time, and it was disgusting. It didn't even taste good. But I've made myself a lot of like real macaroni and cheese since then. I have a really hard time. And right now at 13 weeks, I'm still kind of in that. I've gotten a little bit better because I think like mentally I'm like, all right, Jamie, you have to get yourself together and cook something. You can't eat out all the time. But there was a week where I was like, I took Teddy to Chipotle for dinner. I bought like soup from a local, natural grocery store for dinner. I just could not even think about cooking. I had was really sensitive to smell. At that time, I don't think that I'm still sensitive as that, or I don't think I'm still as sensitive. I don't notice it as much anymore, but I was smelling everything from like miles away, and the thought of like cooking different smells together just really grossed me out. But once it was already cooked, it would be fine, which is weird. So I didn't really have any food aversions. I had an aversion to cooking. I had an aversion to ingredients, which is so ironic because that's basically all I buy is ingredients. Like if you look in my pantry, we don't have much boxed stuff. We have pasta, we have rice, but we don't have any boxes of anything, like not even pretzels or cookies. Like I make all of that stuff from scratch when we want to eat it. Or we go out and we live by the 90-10 rule. So 10% of, going out to eat and enjoying ourselves is nothing to be worried about. But you're not going to find any of that in my pantry. And I didn't want any ingredients. Everything that I had in my fridge, I didn't want anymore. And I still can't look at this book. I don't have any interest in diet and nutrition right now. I'm living off of fresh fruits and cucumbers and olives and avocados and soups that are already made from Whole Foods, which I know isn't the best, but it's just, the best that I can do right now. And for dinner, I have a lot of brown rice pasta, or even regular pasta with, butter and cheese and just doing my best right now. So I did just make a video, a Whole Foods grocery haul and first trimester, what I eat in the first trimester. So if you're interested in getting more in depth on what I have been eating and how I've been trying to stay as healthy as possible without wanting anything healthy really, then go check out that video because maybe you'll find some tips if you're feeling the same. So in terms of prenatals, I decided to go with the Master Formula from Young Living. It is actually a multivitamin that is packaged into 4 different capsules. And they do it that way because your body is best able to absorb certain nutrients when they're packaged together or packaged outside of other nutrients. Certain nutrients together combined make them less absorbable. So I love the idea that it was in 4 different capsules. These are food-based, which I also love the idea. But when you have like a sensitivity to smell or like any food aversions, they're not the best, and they are on the bigger side, so they have been really hard for me to take, but I'm really a big fan of them. And then I've also been taking, this is a Super B that I was talking about. I don't know if you can see it. So this is a like a B complex. It has a whole bunch of different B vitamins, including folate. And folate is really important to have when you're planning a baby and when you're pregnant. And a lot of prenatals actually have folic acid, which is a synthetic version of folate, which a lot of pregnant mamas or a lot of women in general can't actually absorb, or what you have to actually, your body has to go through a whole process of transferring the folic acid into folate itself if you take folic acid, and a lot of people's bodies can't actually do that, so you're not actually getting any folate if you use a prenatal that has folic acid and you're one of those people. And then if you're not one of those people and you can actually, your body can actually transfer it into folate, it just makes your body work harder than it needs to. And it's just better to get an actual folate vitamin than get the folic acid where your body has to turn it into folate. So I've been taking Super B 2 a day since we started trying, specifically for that reason, and I'm super happy with that as well. I was taking Super B before I got pregnant too for natural energy, and it's really, B vitamins are really great to keep your energy up if you have any kind of chronic fatigue, or you're just tired all the time, or you have low energy. Adding a good quality food-based B vitamin is really, really good. So that's the recap for the first trimester. It is such a different world when you're pregnant. As soon as you find out you're pregnant, you feel such a sense of responsibility for, growing such a healthy baby and protecting that little sensitive, vulnerable, fetus. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Click the notification bell so that you always get a notification whenever I post a new video, and I will see you guys next time.